Hi, everyone. Welcome to this Can We Be Frank Extra. We have some controversy surrounding the Oscar-nominated film The Holdovers. Simon Stevenson, a writer whose credits include 2001's animated film Luca and Paddington 2, alleges that the Holdovers script was plagiarized, at times word for word, from a spec screenplay he wrote titled Frisco. Frisco is a drama that centers on a world-weary, middle-aged children's doctor and a 15-year-old patient he gets stuck looking after. Oscar-nominated film The Holdovers, written by David Hemmingson and directed by Alexander Payne, is a drama revolving around a world-weary, middle-aged boarding school teacher and the 15-year-old pupil he gets stuck looking after. In 2013, Frisco was one of the hottest screenplays in town that had yet to be produced. Stevenson filed a complaint with the Writers Guild of America, and at the heart of the complaint is his contention that Payne had read Frisco in 2013 but declined to direct the film. Frisco got a resurgence in 2019 where it was again being passed around Hollywood, and according to emails, Payne again passed on being attached to the film. However, shortly after those emails, Payne began working with Hemmingson on The Holdovers. According to a podcast interview, Payne had read a TV pilot written by Hemmingson set in a boarding school and reached out to him to see if he'd be willing to adapt his TV pilot into what would become the Oscar-nominated film. The Writers Guild, while sympathetic to Stevenson, ultimately determined that this was not a Guild issue, since Frisco was written on spec. Guild lawyers referred Stevenson to a Los Angeles-based law firm to perhaps pursue other remedies under copyright law. Writing a script on spec means that it was a speculative screenplay and was not commissioned by a Guild signatory producer. So while this may not be a Guild issue, the moment you write a screenplay is the moment you own the copyright of it. That is likely why Stevenson was referred to attorneys to pursue other courses of actions, if his allegations are true. Ironically, The Holdovers is nominated for Best Original Screenplay at the 96th Academy Awards. There was a buzz amongst industry insiders that Stevenson was asking for an investigation through the Guild, but it is unclear if that impacted voting. When disputes do fall under the jurisdiction of the Writers Guild, they may go into a process called arbitration. Here's a clip from a recent episode of Can We Be Frank, where we talk a little bit about the arbitration process that Robert went through for his horror film Halloween H2O. So just to clarify for everybody, so official credit was co-writer.
The official credit is story by Robert Zappia.
Okay.
And then
Screenplay by Robert Zappia and Matt Greenberg.
Okay.
But people don't know this, but first position means you did the most work. So
okay,
you
Because
try
you
and
were
get
on
that
top.
first position.
I see.
Now,
Yep.
that wasn't what was, and I think we're going to get into this on another
There's
episode.
a whole topic on it, but I just want to let everybody know that you had to go to arbitration to get that, correct? A process called arbitration,
You go to,
which is through the Guild,
yes,
correct?
because the studio recommends what their credit,
Okay.
what credit they want it to be. And it was like, story by Kevin Williamson, screenplay by Kevin Williamson and Robert
Because they want
Zappia.
because they
In
want that
size
for
8
marketing
font.
purposes for them.
Of course.
And whatnot.
And what ended up happening, short story, if we're going to get into it more on the other one, because it's a long, convoluted tale of bribery and,
Yeah.
and everything else.
It's a good story.
What ended up happening was the arbitration went in my favor.
Mm-hmm.
They still had Kevin go out with Jamie Lee on press circuit, and I'm talking like on shows, morning shows.
Good Morning
Like
America, right?
Good Morning America, Kelly Ripa, or I don't know if she was.
Regis
Was it Regis?
Regis
and Kathy
Yeah.
Lee at the time,
Kathy
And
probably.
the
Lee,
Chiron
probably.
on the bottom was Kevin Williamson, writer, Halloween
Oh,
H2O.
jeez.
Ooh.
And so I called the Guild,
What's going
look,
on?
This is the credit. Like, they're giving him credit. Like, oh, he can't do that. They can't do that. I'm like, great. What are you going to do? They'll be fined $500.
Great.
Which to him is probably even at that
Well,
time.
not even to
dropping the hat.
him, but to Dimension, they're like, are you
yeah,
kidding?
that's
They're
fine.
spending $50 million on marketing. Not that. But no, I mean, they're spending
Right.
millions, and they're not going to care.
Yeah, not 500.
But again, going back to, and we'll get into that in another topic, I'm not saying Kevin didn't do writing on it, because he did.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He absolutely did, as did Matt. But there's, when you go to arbitration, we'll get into another thing, but just the short of it, when you go to arbitration, the people on the arbitration committee don't know who the writers are. It's all anonymous.
Mm-hmm.
There's very specific percentages that have to be met for you to get credit. And they determine, it's a panel of 3 people, what they believe the credit should be. Like writer A, like I was like writer A, Kevin was writer B, Matt was writer C, whatever
Okay.
it is. They don't know anything about it. There was an IMDb then. See what I do now, because I've been on committees. Now it's very easy I've recently arbitrated a film. It's very easy to go on IMDb and look at like who are the writers on IMDb, because even when it's in pre-production,
Right, you see.
so you don't know who's writer A, B, or C, but you can kind of piece it together
Right.
by the names.
Can we be frank?